It's you again. Now that the ripples from the election results have started to die down and the shape of the wave is starting to become apparent, I must ask, do you feel comfortable that fake corporate wokeness seems to be being replaced with fake corporate religiosity? There's a lot of news and chatter in the podcast sphere, and slowly emerging from the more mainstream information brokers, of a resurgence of Christianity. Certainly as a part of the right-wing coalition, the established Christians have reason to feel emboldened following Trump's re-election, but I'm speaking more to the trend of claims that young men in particular are flocking to faith-based institutions. Protestantism and Catholicism, and even Eastern Orthodoxy have seen a surge in conversions in America, or so the story goes. Convenient how a website that just a few weeks ago was promoting sexual inclusivity and trans voices is now eager to tell you that Joe Rogan has sided with Jesus over the Big Bang. A salacious headline that distorts what exactly was going on in that video clip. But YouTube has long been contradictory in its public-facing rhetoric versus what it allows its algorithms to promote. Things seldom go viral by accident on any of these platforms. So why are they now favoring a pro-Christian narrative? I can see how, if you are Christian, that this would seem like a welcomed change. Good news, if you pardon the pun. But the powers that be need not only be two-faced. When portraying 3 or even 4 faces is just as convenient. As the shape of the new leadership class emerges, a severe contradiction in what they are doing is growingly apparent. On the political side, the party that the tech bros just aligned themselves with is actively pursuing legislation that in many states will make it harder to gain assistance without meeting higher work requirements than are already in place, thus encouraging the population to work more. Classic Calvinist Protestant work ethic thinking. God doesn't want people to be indolent or some such reasoning. Yet on the other end, the corporate tech and industrial mogul class is actively developing technologies whose express purpose is to phase the living workforce out, leaving many critical industries in the hands of AI and robotics, and a limited human ownership/management class at the top. Forcing the poor back to work because we've decided to kick out our illegal labor force does at least make some practical sense. Someone's got to do the grunt work after all, and Americans don't want to do that kind of stuff unless they're desperate. But if we do that, and then the tech sector is successful at creating reliable and cheap robotics and AI software to replace 90+% of the available jobs, and we've dismantled the welfare net, then what? Over the last half-decade plus, I have heard on occasion as a talking point that the left engages in something called suicidal empathy, for supporting an agenda that encourages immigration and the dismantling of old cultural norms. It's a little hyperbolic to describe it that way, but fine. For the sake of argument, let's accept that wokeness was a form of cultural seppuku. Then what do you call a plan that makes everyone dependent on working to achieve even minimal survival while simultaneously planning to make working obsolete? Who is Jeff Bezos' robot army going to sell junk to if no one has an ability to earn money, and he doesn't want to pay taxes to ensure that everyone has the barest minimum required to buy stuff from him anyway? What exactly is the long-term reasoning here? And why now does encouraging the youth to rejoin Christianity factor into it? Once everyone is functionally illiterate and uneducated from reliance on AI, which we are already speedrunning our way to that goal on our own, do they hope that religion will be able to keep the neo-peasantry in line as it was once used in feudalistic times? Thankfully, resource scarcity and the expense of power generation may prove to be our greatest ally in averting all of this. How many robot armies full of expensive electronics and rare mineral-powered batteries can any nation-state afford to lose? How many nuclear power plants can we build to power the AI servers before sourcing nuclear materials becomes too expensive? There are limitations to extraction, limitations to physical reality. Machines break down and do not heal. Computer systems glitch and freeze. System collapse is inevitable given a long enough timeline. What nightmare do we condemn our descendants to when the grid finally does go dark for good, and no one knows how to make fire, grow food, hunt, sow, find water, slaughter animals, identify poison plants, or even build a grass hut, what consolation will God bring us then? But seriously though, they know that search engines and social media and emojis and AI LLMs are making people dumber and functionally illiterate. Yes, they can technically read, but they do not know how to read, if you catch my drift. And in spite of this being documented as occurring, as much as it is being documented that access to smartphone technology and social media is leaving an entire generation of children functionally illiterate and uneducated in even the basics of who and where they are, they keep making more cell phones and encouraging kids to use their platforms. And what was popular the last time we had a concentrated elite and a massive illiterate serfs beneath them? Religion. How fitting that in their desperation to remain relevant to the modern audience, that Christianity may have opened the door for the devil to come take us all. At least, with this tech bro dystopia aligned with the left, they would be working towards expanding welfare into some form of UBI, if and when the real great replacement goes down, not of Mexicans or Muslims or other such paranoid nonsense, but of machines. The Protestant work ethic of the traditional Republicans is not compatible with the desired outcome of techno-feudalism. When will you wake up to this and stop it while you have a chance to do so via proximity? Otherwise, you are contributing to a confluence of events that could spark the greatest famine event in all of human history. Once the machines fail, and everyone left is too stupid to know how to feed themselves anymore. Some of the most unethical people to have ever lived are beginning to promote conversion to Christianity amongst certain user demographics, in the exact same manner in which they began promoting transsexuality and anti-racism over a decade ago. Why? And can you trust it? At what cost comes relevance? Is a suicidal work ethic preferable to suicidal empathy? And how? Stay waspinated.